It's like remakes, like
Yeah.
you ever listen to your remakes on YouTube before?
Yeah,
They not the exact same as the actual beat.
At all. Like I was watching some white boy, shout out to him.
If you're new to the channel, what's up? Please subscribe. My name's Aiden. I'm obsessed with remaking songs, down to the exact note, down to the right preset. On this channel, close isn't close enough. I'm obsessed with finding the exact sounds that we use in these songs. If you go to other channels, they'll show you how to make something that sounds like this song. I'm gonna show you how the song was made. I'm obsessed. Let's start off with the main synth that plays in the introduction of the song. In researching the song, first off, I watched all the other remakes on this song. No one got anything right. Everyone got everything wrong. I couldn't believe it. There's so much damn misinformation in the remake space. Everyone gets everything wrong. So I'm here to set the record straight. This is how the song was made. So to figure out what's going on in this introduction, I got to look at the original producers. I found out in my research, Boomin mainly worked on the drums and the bass, but the instruments, the melodic instruments, were done by Honorable C-Note and Alan Ritter, I believe. Honorable C-Note is pretty well known for making these lush, complex, cinematic sounds. He did the same thing in Trippie Redd's Dark Knight Dummo. He solely produced that record. Pretty impressive stuff. And so to make these complex cinematic sounds, he often likes to go to Arturia products. He said multiple times he's a die-hard Arturia user.
Well, the SQ80V in particular, I like the oscillators, the type of
He shows us the presets that he actually uses in his production process. So I immediately went to the SQ80V, 196 presets, went through every single one of them. And I found some that sound pretty good, and they could be potential candidates for other sounds for this remake, but I didn't find the introduction sound. So I went, you know what, screw it. I'm opening up Analog Lab V, which is Arturia's culmination of all of their VSTs. And Arturia was nice enough to one time send me their collection. And so I went to Analog Lab V, I went to Explore, and we have 12,389 presets. It's their entire collection. And so I went through their entire collection, listening through every single preset. And eventually I found the preset Into the Night. And it stopped me in my tracks. And so I went to the Synclavier V directly and I opened up the preset Into the Night. So let's go to Oscillator 2, which is the string sound, and bring it up by 1 octave. Okay, something's going on here. Next, I brought down the attack, so the string sound plays immediately. It doesn't swell up, it just plays. Getting closer, I was like, that's interesting. Time to go to Oscillator 1. Let's go to screen mode, and inside the engine itself, we're going to go to the partial number 1. It's a Rhodes piano, but I realized there's too much presence in the upper harmonics, so we're going to be bringing these down to 0. Sounds like that. Then I was like, okay, look, the strings aren't quite there yet, so we're going to go back to the strings. The original strings are huge. Let's make this sound bigger. And to do that, we're going to pan Oscillator 2 to the left, copy it, and paste it on number 4. Then we're going to pan it to the right. So far, nothing's happened. Here's the trick. We tune them. So I'm going to bring the strings to the right. I'm going to tune that up by, let's go 4 cents and negative 4 cents. So now you can hear it spreading out more. I think Honorable C-Note made this preset and he handed over to Alan Ritter. And Alan Ritter went, I'm going to add one of my favorite plugins to this sound. A plugin called Valhalla Shimmer. I've seen him use this plugin. In fact, this exact preset. In one of his videos.
I have my own presets, which y'all are probably gonna copy. It's cool.
And it swells out the sound. I also added some distortion, some multi-band compression, strong EQ. Now, as far as the chords goes, I have a very cool plugin to show you guys today. Also the sponsor of this video, but unsponsored Aiden says, you should watch this sponsor. It's actually really sick. The plugin is called Chord Genie. This plugin will allow you to generate infinite unique chord progressions. And so for this remake, for example, they also have expansion packs. So I went to a famous expansion pack and I went to Billboard, scroll down. We have the chord progression, Metro Boomin, Too Many Nights. That's playing audio from within the plugin. If we actually want to route this so that it plays from our instrument, and this is where I think it's going to become really useful, is that we can go to the settings and we're going to use this to control any VST that we want. So I'm going to open up the synth VST once again, go to the MIDI input, turn that to 1 as well. And now the chords are coming from Chord Genie. I'll give you a quick demo of the infinite chord progression generation tool. Here we go. First one. Is it sick? It's pretty sick. And what we can do, because this is playing too high, I can go Control A, Shift, down arrow. Bruh. Try again. Look at that. Whoa! What was that animation? I've never seen that animation before. And it is generating this out of nowhere using AI. They're taking over. This is the first evolution of like Neuralink. You know what I mean though? It's like where you can use this to combine your human powers of knowing what sounds good with a plugin that generates chord progressions that technically should sound good. And here's the crazy thing. If you don't like a single chord, you can click on that chord and it will show you a list of other chords within that scale that will work as a substitute. Dude. So for example, A minor. Then one final little feature I got to show you guys this ready. This is one of the benefits of Unison products I've found is that they synergize really well. So if we can put these on group 1 together, right? Boom, look at this, ready? Group. And so now we've grouped multiple Unison products. And so when you generate a chord progression, it also generates a bass progression on bass track. Dude, what the hell? Honestly, this plugin feels like a leap forward in the evolution of music production technology, and get amongst it if you don't want to fall behind. So yeah, check out Unison Chord Genie in the description below for a 50% discount, and remember me when you're famous. So we have this chord progression here. Now let's just drag and drop the MIDI straight into the synclavier. That is the introduction. Now we're getting into the beat. Metro! Jumping into the main sound. So that sound, it goes bum, 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 bum. Kind of sounds like the Ric Flair drip melody, actually. It's like... I made that preset on Serum 2 to be specific. If you have Serum 1, you can upgrade for free, which is pretty cool. I think Serum 2 is a massive upgrade. To create this preset, we are using 2 sine wavetables. The second one, oscillator B, we are taking it up by 2 octaves. So if we just used oscillator A, it would look like this. But then adding in oscillator B, which is up 2 octaves, it adds this really nice upper harmonic, which completes the sound. Then we're going to the effects tab and adding some plate reverb, which makes the sound nice and spacious. So without it, it's just too dry. So we need to add a little bit of reverb, as it was done in the original song. I'm not just doing this because it's like, oh, I think it needs some reverb. It's like, that's what happened. But then I was listening back to the original song and I felt like something was missing. Metro! And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear this here first. No other remake. No one else has figured this out. But I got it. The actual melody looks like this. Every single note in the melody plays a second time, like this little lead-in note to the next note in the melody. So it's going to sound like this. And you can hear that if you listen really closely to the original song. Metro! Still don't believe me? Oh, all right. I'll make my case. So let's isolate this section, make unique as sample. And I'm going to drag this sample into the most powerful AI stem splitter known to man currently. It is called La AI. And their latest version, Perseus, allows for some very, very precise extraction. So I'm going to go deep extraction. So it's given us 2 files. One is the drum audio. The other one is the drums removed. Drag this into the project, and that's going to sound like this. Now we can drag this audio out, double the length. And now you can hear it. Nice. This pattern plays throughout the entire song, so we're just going to select it and hold Command Alt and hold B. And so that function duplicates it. We have a guitar coming in.
Metro!
I'll strum along with it so you know when it's playing.
Metro!
That guitar, I believe, comes from Alan Ritter, because in my research of this song, I saw Alan Ritter making a beat using a guitar VST. And that guitar VST comes from Contact. And so in the remake, I explored some different guitar VSTs, and I found the exact ones that he used in this song. Number one is the Electric Sunburst Deluxe guitar. Compared to the original song,
Metro! Metro!
and the second one is the Scarby Rickenbacker bass. Before we dive into the drums, there is one more melodic instrument playing here, and I'm curious if you can pick up on it.
Metro!
It's a pad synth, and it's incredibly hard to pinpoint. Even if I play you the extracted instruments, it is still very, very subtle in the mix. So to pinpoint this pad sound, we're going to go to the master and open up Fruity Stereo Shaper, and we're going to isolate the side channel. So the mid channel is where the majority of the audio is coming through, but with pad synths, they actually take up a lot of the side channel. So by isolating the side channel, we are essentially isolating the pad synth. So this is before. Now let's isolate it. And there is no other way to accurately pick up on this sound. Once again, this sound, I believe, came from Alan Ritter. In one of his videos, he shows the VST Sky Keys. And so I purchased Sky Keys, and I found the preset Swarm Sine. To remake the melody exactly, I was doing it with reference to this isolated side channel of the extracted instruments from the instrumental of the song. And I was just matching up the frequencies. That's one of my all-time jams. Keep that one between us, all right? So let's add that in. Time for the drums. So starting off with the kick, we have, of course, once again, the rack kick. As you can see, the kick sample doesn't line up with the tail end of the kick in the original song. And so to fix this, we're going to drag this down. 150 cents, cool. And so as you can see now, it matches perfectly. Next up, we have the closed hat, and Metro Boomin, once again, I believe, programmed these samples. He's a big fan of D Rich and Shorty Red samples, and so we're using the Shorty Red hat, courtesy of Polo Boy Shorty. And as always, being pedantic with these remakes, for some reason, the hi-hat in the original song was pitched up by 5 cents, which you won't hear. Literally sounds the same, but that's what I noticed comparing it to the EQ. And I really like the way Metro Boomin programmed this closed hat, because we're actually going to be alternating the velocity of these notes. So the first one is playing at 95% volume. Second one plays at around 65% volume. Most hip hop songs are going to have a hi-hat pattern that sounds like this. And this simple adjustment adds a heap of bounce into the mix. So that's the closed hat. Next up, we have some more perk sounds coming in. Once again, identical samples. You know how we do. We've got the hi-hat 116 from some drum kit, but we are playing it up at E. And I found this out because there are points in the original song where this second hi-hat plays on its own. I've brought in the extracted drum samples from this section of the song. This is the original song. Oh, look at that. And you'd probably think I was done there. Pulled up Ozone 11 Imager to look at the imaging of the hi-hat. As you can see, it is playing in the center of the mix. Out the box with this hi-hat, it actually is panned to the left. So we're going to be compensating for that by panning it to the right. So here we go. For the open hat, we are using once again another Shorty Red sample courtesy of Polo Boy Shorty. It is the red open hat. Playing it down at A4. As you can see, middle C. It's too high, playing it down by 3 semitones. But this one has this sort of delayed tail, so we're going to go to the envelope settings and make this classic envelope that I've shown many times where you bring up the sustain to 100% and bring everything else down to 0. That means that the sound only plays for as long as you're playing the sound. So I can play it really short, or I can play it long. And so we're playing it for exactly 3 steps. Then finally, they've actually panned this sample as well. 62% to the right. And so that's it. That's everything exactly. What more do you want? Next up, we have the snare clap. The exact clap is the Luger slap clap. First off, we're pitching it down by 2 semitones. Then we are taking up the sample start. So we're getting rid of that first notch in the sample. And what's cool here is that now it actually will align with the waveforms of the original song. The samples are aligning. Look at that. Then for the snare, we are using the Pyrex snare pitched down by 250 cents. And so together.
Metro!
Then we are layering the Luger slap clap a second time, once again pitching it down by 2 semitones. And this time we are adding reverb using Luxverb, which is a plugin that Metro Boomin discussed on the Producer Grind podcast. Shout out Producer Grind.
They got a new reverb. That's crazy. I think it's called Luxverb.
Compared to the original song. Next up, we have a cowbell sound coming in, and this sample actually originates from the Roland TR-808. It is a classic cowbell sample that you will hear in basically every hip-hop song. But this one's a variation on that because it has chorus. Then we are going to the envelope settings, and we're making this pretty unique envelope where the hold is very short. It's going to sound like this without any effects. Chorus and some reverb. And this rolling cowbell sample plays every 2 bars without fail. And that is it for the drums. So let's move on to the main event. The exact 808 for you guys today. Without question, the exact 808. And so I went to a Lunch 77 Metro Boomin drum kit and I found the Dist 1 M808. M stands for Metro. This was the exact 808 used in the original song. I know it. But this 808 has been tuned to the key of the song. I'm going to take this sample into a little plugin I like to call Melodyne. So you can see there's a big old pitch bend, but it's also out of tune. You can see it's actually 16 cents above D1. So I'm just going to double click on this sample and now it's in tune. Second thing, to fix up this pitch bend, we'll use the pitch modulation tool and bring that down to 0. And that's done, so we can just export the audio back. Before and after. That sample already comes with distortion, but we need to beef it up with more distortion using Indent 2. Then, and here is the strangest part of all, as you can see looking at the original song, the 808 plays in stereo. This is one of the first things you learn in producer school. You don't stereoize your bass sounds. And for some reason, Metro went, you know what, screw it. He stereoized this bass to the max. Look how wide the bass in the original song gets. And the song was mixed by Metro and Ethan Stevens, so I am genuinely curious how this even happened. Ozone 11 Imager. Some light EQ, and finally Fruity Soft Clipper. This basically tells the audio, you shall not pass. We need to add one more plugin to this 808. So I'm going to send this to a bass bus. It's like a mix bus, but for bass. And we're putting on the plugin Track Spacer for frequency-specific sidechaining to the kick. Then we're going to the rack kick on the mixer, and I'm routing that to the bass bus. And so whenever the kick plays, the audio between 20 Hertz and 250 Hertz in the bass cuts out. So if I mute the kick, most sidechaining plugins, they'll just cut out the entire audio. But with Track Spacer, we can specifically remove just the bass in the 808. Now they aren't fighting for space in the mix. Then we're skipping forward 8 bars. And we're adding in 2 new instruments. Number 1 is a piano, which comes from Addictive Keys. It is the Studio Grand Close Hard preset. On the mixer, we are adding a band EQ, Tape Mellow Fi, which is a tape emulating plugin from Arturia, and some Valhalla Room for some added reverb. That gives the piano a little bit more character. It's a very Savage Mode 2 type of piano. Backing it up, we're going back to Sky Keys and we're using the Process Flute. And I'm pretty confident that's the exact preset used in the original because it has some of those characteristics that you can hear in it. And this melody backs up the melody that plays in the piano. Then another 8 bars passes and we are adding in a ride sound. You can hear a ch, ch. And this is possibly the hardest part of this remake for me to locate the exact sound. Because, number 1, it's really soft and subtle in the mix. And so opening up an EQ, you can't even see the sample playing. Once again, the only way to actually hear this sample with any sort of degree of accuracy is by enabling Fruity Stereo Shaper using the side preset. I'm telling you guys, this is one of the coolest tools I've learned in recent times. Like right there. And so, spoiler alert, the last thing which made this near impossible to find is the exact sample is the BWB Mini EDM Ride. Comes from an EDM pack. That was the last place I thought to look. Isn't that beautiful? And fun fact, that sample actually originates from the Alesis HR16A vintage drum machine. This ride sample here. That is everything I want to go through in this video today. There were a few more elements later on in this song, such as the outro or some other synths that came in later. But if you want the full breakdown, that's for my Patreon supporters. Shout out to them. They're keeping the show running. And I'm cooking on some new videos. But for now, this is the final result. That's it for the remake today. Got another Shazam comparison, another one for the books. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Maybe 90210, maybe Timeless. Might have to subscribe to find out. Quick request, if you don't leave comments on videos, I would love to hear from you. That'd be really cool. You'd be like, yo, I actually don't really comment ever. This is actually my first comment. I just wanted to say thank you. Or you could say, I'd love to hear from you guys. Always appreciate the comments. You guys are insanely nice. It's ridiculous. I look at other YouTube channels and they go, I hate you. But I haven't gotten too many of those. I think I got like 1. And I don't like that guy. And yeah, he's blocked. I blocked him.